Good evening and welcome back to the third episode of the Talking League podcast. Once again, I'm your host Shane Campbell and alongside me is Ashton Lima. Ashley, how are we doing?
How's it going, guys? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be on the show today and hopefully you guys will be interested in what we're saying.
Awesome stuff. Tonight we actually have our very first guest on the show, Jarryd Buckle. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys having me. Like as you say, first guest on the show. I'm pretty honoured. I think it's going to be a great experience and I can't wait to let the people know what I want to say.
Solid.
Awesome. Well, don't let them just hear your beautiful voice. You've got to tell us exactly a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I am a football fanatic, always have been. It's been a lifelong passion of mine. I'm a diehard Spurs fan. Some will say that's unfortunate, but I still think it's a blessing on the up, I guess. Yeah, and I've been playing football my whole life as well. Play for an amateur team, which we seem to be struggling over recent, but it's still great fun nonetheless.
The key word there being amateur.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we begin our show, guys, I'd like to introduce our first sponsor, 197 Engineering.
Boom!
Signature boom. They specialize in precision engineering, milling and turning of all shapes and sizes. To contact them and find out how they can help you, please contact Cody Wesson on 011 892 1334. We will also leave the details in the podcast description. Alright guys, so are we ready to jump straight in with this?
Boom! No, I'm joking.
Okay, so topic number 1. We're going to be looking at and discussing 5 players that have wowed us, as well as the 5 players that have flopped. Boys, who wants to start?
I don't have a full 5 players, because I think that'll just be wrong and rude at the same time. But on Tottenham's perspective, there are 2 new bars that we had this season have been absolute flops, the Salso and Sessegnon, because obviously we haven't played them at all really that much. As soon as they came into the camp they were injured, and they've pretty much been absent the whole season, which I was quite disappointed about, to be honest. Some bars or some players that have done incredibly well. What's that Wolves player that's got that pace that's mad, the right wing?
Adama Traore.
Yeah, well, that boy is so fast, and I've just enjoyed watching him play. It's been absolutely incredible. It's odd for me to say, but it actually puts a smile on my face when I watch this guy play, because I just can't believe the size and the pace of the guy, because he's a big boy as well.
No, he is.
Know?
Yeah. I think that's why you keep smiling at him as well, those biceps.
Anything like that.
Guys that you think have flopped, Jay?
Lingard this season has been terrible, I think.
Sure.
United, in my opinion, have been struggling quite a bit. Yes. Do you know another good player, as much as it hurts me to say, is Mesut Ozil. I don't know if you saw him last week.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't had a lot of game time, but boy, when that guy came onto that field,
he shined.
Oh, wow, I was actually quite impressed. As much as that does hurt me to say.
Yeah.
But at least
it's definitely better. Ashley, what about you? What are you thinking there?
Well, I got a bit more players to share. I think Madison this season has been outstanding.
I do agree with you there.
Madison, I think a lot of guys will agree, and a lot of viewers will obviously agree. But I think what we thought of Lingard is what we would have thought of obviously Madison, because Madison brought in the assists, he brought in the chances, he brought in the crosses. Everything about him is just boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing about Madison is you can't really rely so much on other midfielders besides Madison, because I actually feel that in a way he might be even better than some Liverpool midfielders, like Milner. I know it's quite strong to say some Liverpool, but if you think about how many chances he's created, especially for Vardy as well. And now, obviously, I think having him as my number 5 choice, I think he would be there, you know what I mean, for the top 5.
I got him in my fantasy league team as well.
Now, he just brings in points. He just brings in captain or something. And I think my 4th one would be Patrick Aubameyang for this season. I know Arsenal, I know it's like a bit of a rivalry for you guys for Tottenham. Yeah. But I think with Aubameyang, he's just the wow factor. He's the fastest player to get to 50 goals as well. And I think he's like the Cristiano Ronaldo of Premier League now, you know what I mean? Because he's young, he's vibrant, he's fast, he's got everything, you know what I mean?
The only thing I think of when I hear that name is that Black Panther mask, and I just want to
Wakanda forever.
That was the highlight of the last season.
What a tool.
For sure. But I think also another player, he's had a good season. He just came from Aston Villa, and then going back to Chelsea, is obviously Abraham. 6'5", the giraffe.
That guy, he's impressed me as well. I actually could have added him.
Exactly.
Tammy
And
Abraham.
he's just got so much power. I think, you know, despite him being so tall and being a giraffe, I don't think he's reached his peak yet. But at the same time, you know, scoring so many goals as a 22-year-old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's there like as my you know player. And I think another player as well. I know he performed very well last season. He did get young player of the season or something like that. Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, City
I would
are-
put him there. I would put him there in my top 5. I don't know if you guys would agree. Would you agree, Jay?
No, I would. I definitely would. He's one of those players that he's very much affected by the guys around him, playing
Yeah.
around him. If the guys around him are playing well, he's going to perform to his absolute best. He seems to
Exactly.
do that. So he feeds off the energy of the players around him,
For sure.
which is also a good thing, you know, because also in the England outfit he does incredibly well.
he's
yes,
amazing.
and,
Him and Kane link
yeah,
up very,
no,
very
100%.
well.
They do.
And yeah, he's very impressive, and I still think he's got a long way to go. You know,
He does.
he's not quite as young as Lingard, as everybody says. But
For
yes,
sure.
I know, 100% great player.
No, he is. And I have 2 more. Sorry.
No, go for it.
I
please.
think obviously also I know he didn't play much last season, and especially with Man City doing so well last season, and then coming into this season, I think Kevin De Bruyne with his assists and stuff, he is a wow factor if you look at him. I think he is one of the best players in the Premier League. I know some people might disagree, but I think he is up there.
Those people that would disagree are probably Arsenal fans anyway.
That's true.
I think so as well. But that Belgian guy is power. You know, obviously he's got 2 goals in 10 apps and he's got 9 assists. You know, he's the top in the league. And the thing is, David Silva's obviously second, but I think Kevin De Bruyne is that wow factor, and I would put him as my number 2. Okay, and then number 1, who would you recommend for me, Jay? Who would you say I would choose?
You would choose.
Yeah.
No, I think you would have to go with the City player, as you always.
No, actually, you're close. You're close, but it's not a Man City player.
Oh, sure, but it's a
Yeah.
United player.
No, City. It's a City.
Oh,
is the
City.
name. Yeah.
A Leicester
Vardy?
City.
Leicester
player.
City, yes. Jamie Vardy.
What?
I think
Yeah, I
the
didn't see
reason
that
why I
coming.
say Jamie Vardy is because the wow factor being, look at last season. You know, he was up there in like top 10 in with the scores and stuff, but at the same time, how much he's changed from last season to this season,
Yes.
and especially helping Leicester get back to their top ways.
I think his shot to fame was very fast,
Yeah,
and when he got dropped from England, it gave him a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah,
did.
definitely.
And yeah, since then, I think he's been playing for a spot back in the England squad.
exactly.
And I think with anybody, that kind of motivation will get you playing well. And their new manager and everything's working out.
Rodgers.
Yeah,
His power.
and I think that Leicester team's also very dangerous. But I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later.
Chenny?
Yeah, so from my side, I picked out. It was actually quite difficult. I was having a look at some of the player listings, and I was trying to be a bit more open in what teams I was choosing from. But there's some players that will just stand out, and you mentioned one of them is James Maddison from Leicester.
Yeah.
You know, last season I didn't think he was going to be such a big player, but man, oh man, he's really performing this season. He seems like he has a little bit of a worry off the field, social life, but at
Yeah.
the same time, he's openly addressed that as well, which means he is aware of it. I suppose it reminds me a bit of Dele Alli. But yeah, James Maddison's definitely one of those. A second one would be Mason Mount from Chelsea.
Yes, 100%.
Exactly.
The youngsters, it's
I was
Man,
going to mention
it's the
him.
year of the
I was.
youngsters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And you know what? It kills me because also Chelsea are Spurs
Chelsea.
rivals. But Mason Mount, man, bags of energy, loads of talent, and the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah.
Number 3, Daniel James, Man United.
Okay.
Daniel James is a watch and a half. Like,
Yeah.
every time he gets the ball, you expect something to happen. And if he's performing this way in a United team that is struggling,
Yeah.
you'd like to see him in a better structure, like maybe what would Pep do with a player like that. Maybe possibly even Klopp. I don't know.
I think he's more of a club player.
He could be a Klopp player, and that's the thing with that high energy and that high intensity would suit Liverpool.
But even so, he's really challenging in the Welsh team as well, alongside Gareth Bale and guys like
Yeah.
that. And
For sure.
I think even though United, like he's come up so fast.
Exactly.
But in the Wales team as well, I think he's making a name for himself.
At
And also
international
another
level, yeah.
absolute youngster, you know, and such a speedster. Wow, he's just all over
And
the place.
also out of nowhere.
Yes,
Exactly.
Out of nowhere. Pre-season, he shone. And next minute, boom.
Boom.
Yeah, boom.
Straight
Like
away.
you say,
Straight
into
away.
Premier League, he's doing super well. I actually had 6 names down here.
Yeah.
Number 4 from Aston Villa, John McGinn.
Yeah.
You know, Spurs played Aston Villa in the opening game of the season, and John McGinn scored the goal within a good couple of minutes. And
That guy's power.
I just watched him the whole game, and I'm not too sure if it's because Spurs were very poor or he's just really that good.
No, he's really
He looked decent. I've been following him a little bit where I can, and he seems to be doing pretty well with Villa, so definitely one to watch for this season.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go to Norwich, and obviously there's going to be a striker everyone's talking about.
Pookie.
Pookie. It sounds like a Pokemon. He's gone a little bit off the pace now. I don't know if it's also hot and cold kind of a thing, but remember when Leicester won the league that season, Jamie Vardy, that's when he made the breakout.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did go the whole season scoring bags of goals.
Exactly.
Is Pookie going to follow that? I don't know. We're only going to see, guys.
But the thing about Norwich is they stick to a very similar game plan every single game they
It's
play.
rigid, yeah.
Yeah, and do you think, me personally, I think all the teams have sussed it out and figured out a way to contain the guy.
Yeah, possibly that's what it is, because he's gone off the boil a little bit. Not to say he's not quality, and it's not to say he's not going to come back.
For sure.
But yeah, one to interestingly watch. And then lastly, I have to throw in a Tottenham player. Is Tanguy Ndombele.
Boom.
Yeah.
Now that guy's power.
You know, I watch a lot of football, and I try not watch only Spurs games. Like, you want to see other players out there, and I can't see a player in the Premier League at the moment that's got so much natural talent while dribbling with the ball.
And heart.
And heart. He
Just
does
drive.
pirouettes. He reminds
Just
me of actually Moussa Dembele.
Yes.
That was at Spurs.
Yeah.
He's just got this ability to pick up the ball, turn, does a couple of turns, and then every pass is forward. And it's looking for a player going making a run instead of this sideways and backwards. So Ndombele definitely oh man, and for a still as well. I think he's still got a lot to grow into as well. So I think he'll definitely reach higher heights. Players that have flopped. Phew, I'm going to start off with an Arsenal player just because he's experienced. David Luiz.
Oh,
What a shock. Like, you know, in all fairness, he wasn't the best defender when he was at Chelsea still. But going into an Arsenal defence that is already struggling, that hasn't got stand-out defenders, you think he's going to stand out in that team. And he has stood out. As a terrible player. Like I mentioned last week in the podcast. He gets caught out time and time again. So David Luiz at the top of my list. Next one, Jesse Lingard. I'm not going to touch too much on him. We've already covered that. A Tottenham player, Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, but his heart's not in the right place.
His heart's not in it, and he's flopped out completely. A West Ham player that everyone raves so much about, and I personally don't see it, is Declan Rice. I don't know if you guys have watched enough of him to make a comment on him, but for me, overhyped.
I think so as well, but at the same time, you know,
Also a youngster.
yeah, he's a youngster, and at the same time, you know, putting such a high bid like Man United wants to buy him, I think for 70 million. And I look at Pepe, you know, he's one of my flops as well, Nicolas Pepe. But at the same time, if you look at the price, every time a player gets hyped up, the price gets up. And the thing is, a player like Declan Rice still needs a bit more experience. Obviously, with the maturity coming in, you know. But I think at the same time, Declan Rice is a player for that team in a way. I wouldn't see him at another club, but I think for his team now,
He's
a
well
perfect
suited,
player. Exactly.
Absolutely. And my last flop player is from Watford, Andre Gray. He also had so much talent, and when he burst onto the scene, everyone was raving about him, and you can see it in bits and pieces in games. He doesn't play full games, let's just be honest and start off with that, but when he gets going, he's fantastic to watch. But also, do I see him getting any better? No, definitely not at Watford, who already are struggling as well.
Yeah, they throw away chances in every game. Who's that leading? Well, who was their striker that came from Liverpool? What's his name?
A Liverpool striker.
I'm sure it was
No, he's at Palace.
Benteke's at Palace. Yeah.
no, there was someone up front.
At Watford.
I'm sure it's at Watford.
Because Watford is Troy Deeney and Andre Gray as the
and
strikers.
Delafeu as well.
And
also
Jarryd
flopped a
Buckle.
bit, Yeah.
I'm not sure. Okay, maybe I've just confused myself.
You just want to pick on Liverpool
I just
players.
remember I've seen the outcome of some of their like broken play, like 3-on-1 kind of stuff, and they just can't put the ball in the
There's
back
no
of the net.
sets, you know, in the manager as
And
well.
I think that's why Watford struggled so much, you know, because they came into this league as like they had a lot of hope and they were doing really well, and everybody had a much higher expectation of what they've achieved.
I think it was also once Troy Deeney got injured. He's the heart and soul of Watford. He bleeds the club. He loves them, and he's extremely passionate. And when he's on the field, you always know he's either going to get involved in a goal scoring opportunity, score a goal, or he's going to start a fight. And 9 times out of 10, it's starting a fight. Excuse me, gets the other players hyped up, and I think that's what they've been lacking as well a little bit. Is a bit of fight and drive.
That's because they've like pretty much run off the end of the planet there for all the flat earthers out there. Because the thing is, like, I couldn't even remember who the front three were. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just hit it perfectly. They ran off the flat Earth, and not to jump into conspiracies about flat Earth.
the Earth is round.
It's round.
I believe that. Sorry.
So the globe tells us. Actually, you want to hit us with some flops, please?
Okay, so you mentioned most of mine. I think Lingard, David Luiz, Gray especially. I'm going to mention one more. I'm not going to mention five because you did mention most of mine, but I'm going to mention one more, and he was my number one player. And I did speak about him last week. You know, he's got a bad behavior, he's got a bad temper. He's got very poor decision making when it comes to fouls, because he committed more fouls this season compared to last season.
Okay.
And yeah, big boss Xhaka. I think he is a bit of a flop this season, because obviously making him captain, he should be a bit more mature.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah,
They stripped the
yeah.
captaincy.
Aubameyang he's the new leader, but I think at the same time, Xhaka should be performing even better each season, because obviously they want to win the league. And I know it's tough for rivals to say they want to win the league, but you know, Arsenal needs to be up there as well. You know, with the amount of money they spend, with the amount of players coming in and out, and now Xhaka's been the main guy for maybe the past years. And the thing is, he hasn't performed to be ready in that spot. You know what I mean? He's been there, he's done it. It's time to move on.
No, very true. And I think throwing the captain's armband on the ground.
That was curtain call.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
done.
Did you guys see his apology that it came out with?
No.
Finally? It was definitely scripted.
I watched Arsenal
No, it
TV
is.
though.
It was a PR stunt, that was for sure. That was not him speaking.
Yeah.
He mentioned things along the line that he received hate mail from fans over the last couple of months and a couple of games.
Yeah.
They were saying things like they want to break his legs.
It does
Something
sound
about
like
his
Arsenal.
family.
Yeah,
as
it does
well.
sound like Arsenal, about his wife, about his daughter,
Yeah.
saying, look, terrible things. Let's just
Exactly.
be honest. But as a captain of a club, you got to handle things better.
Exactly.
Or he should have come out on social media and said, guys, please, let's stop with the hate, let's concentrate, we're all trying to perform something for the club or
For
whatever
sure.
it goes. But he just snapped, and he's like, yeah, I just snapped and it boiled over too much. I don't think that went down too well with the Arsenal fans. And I've chatted to one or two off the podcast actually, and they said, you know what, he came to Arsenal with his reputation that he could grow into something special.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's never kicked on, and I think he's been more frustrated than anything else, and that's shown in his game. And now, yeah, the breaking point was him, like you say, throwing the captain's
Exactly.
armband, and now he's been stripped of
And
captaincy.
swearing at the fans.
Swearing at the fans. Personally,
That's bad.
I think January he's gone. Personally, I think it's best for him as well as the club.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. Even if they get rid of him, China's waiting.
China's waiting.
Take him away.
Can I just add something as well?
Sure.
What we've done is we've mentioned a lot of this, like all these players are coming from the same teams. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not to say that the players have flopped, but maybe these clubs have also gone off the rails a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we keep mentioning players that are coming from the same squads.
Correct.
We haven't mentioned like players from Everton, places like that. Well, even though Everton are having such a mundane season, I think
Yeah.
Liverpool have stolen all the sunshine on Merseyside and
Merseyside is red, unfortunately, at the
yeah,
moment.
for sure.
Yeah, I know. Well, everything's going their way. You know, you can't. Liverpool
Terrific.
are cruising.
You know, you make a very good point, Jay, and that actually leads us to our next topic. So I
Yeah,
don't know
okay.
if you knew that was happening, but it was a great segment
That is.
making way to it, which is the second race of managers. You've mentioned these players are coming from the same team.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly shout off 4 names for me that are managers that I think are going to be not sacked, but definitely got a high chance of it. And
Yeah.
the first one is Emery from Arsenal. We've mentioned a bit of the Arsenal players. Ole at Man United,
Yeah.
Marco Silva, Everton, and then
Spot on.
Pochettino at Spurs.
Yes,
We
yeah.
have to include him in it.
Yeah.
For me, those are 4 managers that are walking a tightrope at the moment. I don't know what you guys are
No,
thinking.
100%. The baby face assassin has pretty much assassinated himself.
Yeah.
Pochettino, as much as it hurts me to say, I know he didn't get the backing he would have liked from Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
That's just one of the unfortunate things. The club had built a new stadium, spent a lot of money on that, and money just doesn't grow on trees, you know.
Exactly.
And then he was able to buy players, like I said earlier, and obviously they haven't barely had any game time this season. So I think it's just been a bit of a struggle on a Tottenham point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emery, obviously fans and players are openly mocking him. It's not a good place to be for him.
Exactly.
I think it's just.
It's not good.
Do you know what? If your fans aren't behind you, there's really no hope. You know, once the fans turn on you,
You're done.
it's done. Yeah, the same thing with Jose Mourinho. Every single time fans have turned on him, he leaves. Essentially,
Exactly.
you know, there's no going back from that. Because once you lose the trust of the fans are what make the club. As much as we like to think the players can
Yeah,
control.
no, you're right.
For sure.
Fans
That's where
fans
revenue
are
comes
everything.
from.
You
They're
know?
the backbone of the club.
No,
Exactly.
100%.
I agree fully. I think with my second race, I think number one has to be Emery.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, performance wise, I think he did better than Ole in my perspective, because I think, you know, if you look at, okay, obviously Man United's winning their current games, but if you look at their season as a whole, how they've dropped every single season. And now the thing is, when Ole came in, his first games, obviously leading up to PSG, were amazing. After PSG, downhill. You know what I mean? And the thing is, with Arsenal, they have up, down. They don't keep their performance. They're not consistent. And the thing is, I'll also throw in a manager that's had a horrific performance as well with Leicester City, where he lost 9-0. And that's the manager of Southampton. I think his name is Hustung Hutul or something.
Yeah, he's a scary looking chap, eh?
He is. And I think he's not having a good season as well. And obviously, you guys did touch on Pochettino. I think he's a very, very beautiful, amazing mastermind. But at the same time, you know, I also think it's that trust of his players, like Eriksen, obviously wanting to leave, like we did touch on. And also like the likes of that backing up, like you guys said. But at the same time, I wouldn't really put Poch in that race, because obviously Tottenham's going to need him.
But as I mentioned, the fans,
Yeah.
Tottenham fans haven't turned on
No.
Poch
No,
at
they
all.
have.
The fans have stuck by. That's one of the messages that I've seen coming up on players' Instagrams constantly. Like, thank you for supporting us, thank you for sticking by us.
Exactly.
And as much as we haven't been playing as well as I thought, a lot of it comes down to terrible luck as well. That game against Liverpool that we played, Liverpool dominated the game, but even though Son hit the post twice,
Yeah.
3 times almost.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of luck isn't going our way, if that makes sense, as much as it did last season.
Yeah.
Because our Champions League, our comebacks
Was
on
amazing.
Yeah, it was just like everything seemed to be going our way, you know.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden we had that break, and this season started, and we've taken like a backward step, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't see Poch getting sacked anytime soon.
I think there's more of a plan.
Yeah, there's definitely a long-term plan, and you know what, he always talks about these projects he's working on and that, and I feel like Daniel Levy and him really got a good working relationship as well as a friendship, and I think that's vastly important, because Daniel Levy's never really had that trust from his managers before, because he's very tight pockets. He doesn't want to spend money, Daniel Levy, and I think Pochettino understood that from day one, but I think now to kick on to the next phase he needs the money. He needs to buy the players he wants to buy. Unfortunately, some of our players have gone a bit too old now, and they're just not good enough anymore. For Tongan, Rose, Eriksen's not old enough, but he doesn't want to play anymore, and that's fine. It doesn't suit the system, etc. I understand that. So Poch definitely not going. Emery
has to go.
You know what the thing is with Emery? He's not necessarily a bad manager, but the question you have to ask is, has he improved Arsenal from Wenger's days? And I don't think so, actually.
I feel like it's
He's got
similar.
better attacking players,
Yeah.
and that's why they're scoring more goals than Wenger's side did, but he's leaking just as many goals. So I don't think he's actually improved
That's the
Arsenal.
thing. That's the thing about Arsenal. They got such a strong attack that they score a lot of goals, but they concede just as many.
Yeah.
They have the potential to put 5 past any defense, but they concede 6. You know, it's just one of those things. And I don't know. It's so up and down.
No, it is.
There, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can leave those guys, because we've mentioned the 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
That are possibly going to get sacked, and it's not nice for managers to go through that.
Exactly.
So we do hope the best for them, except the Arsenal
But then
fans.
you look at the Bundesliga and Bayern sacking their manager after losing a game, and they put
That's like
7
one-
past Spurs
Exactly.
a month ago, you know. So it just shows you, like, if you look at the English teams, they can be on the most terrible run of form, and the managers still stick around. But then, yet you go to another country, a different league, the guy has maybe 2 or 3.
They're rough in Europe. There's no playing games
Exactly.
And now they're playing Dortmund.
there. On the weekend.
And
as well.
Dortmund have only lost 1 game in their domestic league.
And they made a good comeback last night in Champions League as well.
Yeah.
No, for sure. What a game.
No,
What a
they're
game.
also soaring. So I don't think everybody thinks Bayern's going to walk over BVB as much as.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one, but we're going to touch onto that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing we need to talk about is Leicester City. Are they top 4 contenders for the season? They've started off well. Are they going to go the distance?
100%. I think momentum's everything in any sport.
Yeah.
And scoring 9 against Southampton, like you said earlier, they had 2 hat-tricks in one game. I mean, how often does that happen? I think the only time that ever happened was United back in 19 Putzak, you know. So
yeah, for sure.
I think so. As long as consistency is key, but
is.
momentum's a big carrier. So as long as they keep pushing for that positive, like momentum, keeping hyped, because it is a long season. Don't get it wrong. But I mean, as long as they keep momentum and that hype going, they've done it once, they can do it again.
And their key players keeping them fit.
Exactly. Oh, and see, it doesn't matter if Jamie Vardy breaks his arm like he did a couple seasons ago. He just chucks that thing on and makes him play better. Maybe it makes him more balanced out of that posture.
I've never seen him without it on, actually.
Recently, he doesn't.
I thought it was maybe his kryptonite or something. Actually, what do you think about Leicester? They're gonna get top 4?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with stats first. I think obviously 7 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Scored more than Liverpool, conceded less than Liverpool, and Liverpool are the leaders. And at the same time, they got more points than Barcelona, believe it or not, in the Liga. Now, I know it's a different league, I know you're going to say, but I think at the same time, you look at Barcelona with 22 and Leicester 23, so I do think it's quite a high for Leicester fans as well. But at the same time, let's touch for real stuff. I do see the fact where Leicester could win, despite Man City and Liverpool in the way. But I think if City manage to make 2 wins against Liverpool, obviously, and then Leicester being able to beat Liverpool again, but obviously they lost their first game. But I think if they're able to beat them again, and then obviously City losing to Leicester, maybe there's chances, you know what I mean, or even there's draws. But at the same time, they got the key players, obviously Maddison, Tielemans, Vardy, Ndidi, and obviously their new centre back, the one from Turkey, Suyuku.
Yeah.
He's been very vital for them as well for clean sheets and stuff. And obviously the big boss Schmeichel, I think, you know, I would have seen him at a bigger club as well. But at the same time, they're just oozing success. I don't see any other club just oozing with that potential to be able to win. I know you get the likes of Man City and Liverpool keeping that form, but Leicester is all about form. And I think if they lose the key players like Maddison and obviously Vardy and Ndidi and, you know, so on, maybe there's a chance of them not winning. But at the same time, you got to look at the changes where this game coming up against Arsenal, if they do lose against Arsenal, maybe that will make a shift and maybe that form will obviously decrease or deficit over time. And at the same time, you got to look at Liverpool. You know, Liverpool in a way they're more of a comeback team as well, like Tottenham last year. But I think at the same time, what they do is if they don't score in the first half and a team is managing 1 goal or 2 goals, that team that scores those 1 goal or 2 goals, they'll always lose, in my opinion. Okay, this season, what I'm saying. But at the same time, if Leicester, for example, if they had to verse them, I think if they hit 3 first half and just press, obviously with the likes of Ndidi and Maddison being able to defend as well. But at the same time, that's how they'll win against Liverpool if they do verse them upcoming and obviously with City. But in a way, if they do drop form, like after this weekend, I don't see them winning it. Personally, I love the story of Leicester and obviously when they won it. Yeah. And I want to see it again. As a City fan, I don't mind seeing Leicester winning it. I don't want to see Liverpool winning it. But at the same time, you know, you gotta have a team that deserves it. And I think Leicester, out of all the teams with the passion that they have and the fans and obviously the city itself, it's beautiful. And I do think they deserve it. But at the same time, this weekend will judge.
Well, Liverpool also, as much as everybody doesn't like it, I don't think we'll hear the end of it, especially here where we stay. If Liverpool wins the league at all, they always mock us, we'll make a movie about it, they'll definitely make a movie about it. And that's the thing, that they come back in that last 3 minutes of the game last week. I switched off the TV because I thought it was done, and then I gone to my
rookie
Premier
mistake.
League app. Gone to my Premier League app, and all of a sudden I see these guys win.
Same as City as well.
They scored 2 goals in the last, and I couldn't believe that. I was gutted for who was it, Villa, hey? Villa. I couldn't believe it. I was so gutted for it.
And Villa managed the game so well.
No, they did. I thought they could. That's why I switched off the TV. I'm like, wow, done. These guys have done it. You know, like I was like, well, there's no need to watch.
No, for sure.
Switch on my Premier League app the next morning and see that Liverpool won. And I don't know how they did that because their winner was scored in the 94th minute. Something along those lines.
Also, sorry to interrupt, Jay. But
No.
with the game yesterday with Ajax and Chelsea,
Oh, that was brilliant.
that was one of the most beautiful games we've seen this
But
year.
the red cards.
But the
are
red,
what- yeah.
That was crazy.
No,
That
two red
was-
cards within what's it, 2 minutes of each other?
That was crazy.
and both centre halves.
Both centre backs.
Yeah, no, that's done for.
That
I mean,
was-
they were. Oh man, Ajax in the Champions League. As much as I love that team, they struggle.
They struggle. Yeah.
They give goals away, especially in high pressure moments.
Silly goals.
Yeah,
silly,
but it's
very
because they're
silly.
such a young squad as well. You know.
Exactly.
They've got to keep that group of players together now, and next 2 years, tell you what, Ajax will be back where they used to be.
Yeah,
They're top
yeah.
side. There's a reason they're doing so well in Eredivisie as well.
But the problem is they're such a feeder club because they do so well with these young players. They build them up into great players. You
Exactly.
know. If you look at half the players went
De
to
Jong,
Barcelona. Both our centre backs, Vertonghen and
Three centre backs, Sanchez as well.
Yes,
Yeah, Sanchez as well, and
yeah,
Eriksen.
and Alderweireld. They all.
Is Eriksen as well?
Yeah,
Eriksen.
Eriksen also
So, yeah,
came
we've
from
got four
Ajax,
players.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll see they build them to this point where they get so good, and then you think Ajax are going to do fantastic things. They're going to go on and win Champions Leagues, but then the bigger clubs come in and those players can't refuse.
Exactly.
And then you
They can't.
can't keep players against
What they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that league isn't so well recognised across the whole of Europe.
Yes.
Especially as South Africans. I mean, we normally see Spanish league, the Premier League, Italian, and maybe the French league and
Yeah.
German
Yeah.
league. But
Farms League.
But it's more
Yeah.
broadcasted for Prem and for Spanish and
absolutely. So
Yeah.
you got to feel for them because, you know. But I think they've got a good youth setup as well going at the
Italian.
club.
They do.
Because where are these players coming from? Unless they've got a fantastic scouting unit that goes and finds these guys at 15, 16 years old. But I think if they keep this group of players together, sky's the limit for Ajax.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
100%.
Just want to touch on a little point that unfortunately it's reared its ugly head once again in football, and that is racism. For me, it's such a big no-no, and to see it on the big stage, the beautiful game has been tarnished.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's difficult to see how players react to it and how they take that racial abuse. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, let's just say you're a player out there and you're constantly getting racially abused in a game. We've seen players protest and walk off the field,
Yeah.
and their managers are like, "No, please stay on, try and play." You can't blame the guy.
No, they have every
No,
right to.
Exactly.
I fully believe in that. I think if you are getting abused, like I know Gareth Bale had banana peels and things
Yes.
thrown at him as
Yeah.
well because apparently he looks like a monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which back in the day when he was a teenager, everything was out of proportion.
Yeah.
Kind of like me, so and things like that. And I'm sure that knocks on a player, you know, because that's who you are. It's
Exactly.
everything about you. You know, it's the most obvious features that people go against you. And the problem is, it's generally because the player is very good and they're trying to get underneath your skin.
Exactly.
Correct.
And
100%.
and the people that are doing it feel inferior, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's terrible for football. It's terrible for the players
Well,
to go through it.
That
as
English game, who were they playing against? I can't even. Where they were chanting racial things at all the black players in the team, which
Yeah.
were ridiculous. And they stopped the game for a little bit to go on the intercom and tell the players, like, oh, the fans,
well. The
listen.
international game.
Yeah,
you're
the
talking about,
international
yeah.
game. No, that was hectic. That was.
Wasn't
one of
also
the most-
England's game as well?
Yeah,
with,
well, yeah, that was
with
England's game.
Sterling and
Yes,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
yeah, but now those guys got their fine was even less than when what's his name got the Paddy Power.
yes.
Yeah, he got a bigger fine for
Yeah.
wearing those, and these guys didn't. Sure, I think they did get a game ban where no spectators can go. What's it called?
Yeah, playing behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially. And I don't think that's enough. I
No,
think that's
it's
absolutely
nuts.
pathetic.
Awesome.
That's something that they'll like laugh at. They think, oh, we did our job, we got under their skin, even though England absolutely destroyed them.
Exactly.
It doesn't help. I mean, the players, he's tarnished as on a personal level.
Yeah.
I think a fine and a ban, it's nothing at
It's-
the end of the day.
yeah.
I mean, these guys have got money to go to the football game. Do you think a little fine is going to really affect the way he thinks? I say hit him with a prison jail sentence,
Yeah,
straight up.
for sure.
You
Yeah,
know,
100%.
set a precedent like that. And I do believe UEFA and FIFA and all the football governing bodies across the world, they need to be strict on these kind of
No, they
things and
have
work
to.
with the actual governments of each country and say, we need to stomp this out. You know, if football can do it and start there and government can follow on that, you're going to set
Yeah.
a good precedent for the country.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's called the beautiful game for a reason, and it should be
Absolutely.
For
kept
sure.
that way, you know.
yeah, so guys, if you're out there on a Saturday watching kids playing or watch, you know, seniors football just on an amateur level and you hear a lot of racist comments and that, you know what, be the better man, just put it out. try and change their mindsets, and that we got to start somewhere. And if we can do our part by just encouraging people not to be racist and rather hold their comments in, or just go and stop people from doing it, I think we'd be taking a few steps in the right direction with that.
100%. I just want to touch on something quickly.
Please do.
For an example, if you had to think about how people can change, I think of yourself as a brick, okay? If you change yourself as a brick, okay, having the mentality not to be racist, and obviously change the people around you as well. Now, think of you as a brick. Now, at the same time, you want to create other people as bricks, okay? And at the same time, think of racism as this monster that you want to keep out your environment, your area, your world, whatever you want to say. And now think of it as the more people come together as bricks, form a wall. And at the same time, if you have that barrier against racism, we can obviously stop it together, obviously as a group, as a community. But at the same time, you don't want to just stop it in groups and on TV and on sports. I also think it starts at home, because it's also around the people that you're with, and it's also your friends, your family. They're big influences in terms of racism or in terms of negativity in general. But I think it starts at home as well. But obviously, if we can create a wall against racism, I think we'll be 100% fine.
Sure.
Don't hate, create.
Exactly. Boom.
Speaking of creating, I think on the next episode we're going to be having Ashton telling story time for us. He's got fascinating metaphors that he goes through.
Brilliant. Paints a picture.
Absolutely. And our last segment, like last week, guess or mess.
It's a mess.
The 3 games we are previewing or getting score predictions for this week is Leicester versus Arsenal, Bayern versus Dortmund, and Liverpool versus Man City. Jay, let's start with you. What do you think for these 3 games? What's happening?
Okay, the first one. Which one was the first one?
Leicester versus Arsenal.
I would like to see Leicester win that.
Yeah.
Arsenal can score quite a few goals. We do know this. But then again, that Leicester attack, if they just pull together and keep working as well as they have been, I think they'll pull through there. So it could be a very high-scoring game. So I'm going to go for 3-2 to Leicester.
Wow. Okay.
The Bayern versus Dortmund. Okay, so this one's so controversial because they're such great teams. But in my opinion, Dortmund are more in form. Bayern have lost their manager, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Dortmund. I know it's a big call.
That's powerful,
We'll see how that goes. But that's my call. And Liverpool versus Man City. I want City to just stop Liverpool on their tracks. And if there's one team that can do it, I believe it'll be City, because they managed to work around anything, So Liverpool are cruising. It could also be a draw. So my brain's saying draw, but my heart is saying City for that one. So I'm not going to give a score for that.
No, that's fine. Ashley, your thoughts?
I think with my predictions, I think with the game with Leicester and Arsenal, I think obviously I can see a draw. I don't know why I think a 2-2 draw. I think that's where my focus is. Like whenever I just have it like clink, you know what I mean? And that's the feeling I have. So I think 2-2 will set that match. And I think for I think you said Bayern Munich and Dortmund. I think I could see Dortmund as well, Jay. I also think that could be a match
where
with Dortmund.
One
Exactly.
In their domestic league. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And I think obviously with the new signings being Brandt and but he did have a bit of a rocky performance as well last week. But I think Brandt and Hazard, which is Eden Hazard's brother, he's even having a better performance this season than his other brother, but whatever. But I do see Dortmund taking it, and I'll also go with a 2-1 win. And I think with Man City and Liverpool, obviously as a City supporter, I want to see City win. And I think Liverpool are going to give them a lot of struggles. But I see City also taking a 2-1.
Okay.
And then can I just kick it in with the viewers, or do you want to say yours first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so with the viewers on Instagram, the votes are for Leicester and Arsenal. Leicester winning it at 83%.
Sure.
wow.
And Arsenal winning it only by 17.
Hey!
And there's no one that said draw. So at the same time, with Bayern and Dortmund, this is going to be a bit shocking. I think this is before the thing of sacking, but Bayern Munich's winning 73% of the votes. and Dortmund with 27%.
Well, let's hope they make me swallow my words there.
Yeah.
That's Dortmund still.
For sure. And I think with Liverpool and Manchester City, obviously the votes are for higher for my team. But yeah, Man City with 54% and Liverpool with 46%.
Just noting that I think Ashton voted multiple times for Man City on the Instagram.
I can imagine.
For myself, Leicester versus Arsenal, I only see one winner, and that's going to be Leicester 3-2. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game as well.
Good. Just the same as me. So.
Yeah, Bayern and Dortmund, or I should say the Wiz Khalifa black and yellow team. Sure. I had one score in mine, and that was before the manager got sacked of Bayern. Dortmund away. Their tails will be high after last night's victory.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go for a draw. Actually, I'm gonna say a 2-2 draw.
Sure.
It's gonna be a good football match
Yeah.
nonetheless. Liverpool and City. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of Liverpool to know that they are a bit vulnerable this year. So, will City score 3? Possibly. Will Liverpool score 3? I doubt it. I just see 2. So 3-2 to City.
Wow, another 3-2.
Another 3-2. I like
Sure.
3-2s. You can never be wrong.
Yeah,
All right.
3-2 is fine.
I'm going to jump into some of the social media responses we've received. I've got Gary Hellberg has Leicester beating Arsenal. He's got a draw between he's got a draw between City and Poole. And then he's got BVB to beat Bayern Munich.
Sure.
Little Mozart on Twitter has Leicester beating Arsenal 3-1. Logan Gunnan has Leicester beating Arsenal 2-0. 2-1 for Liverpool beating City. And Bayern to beat Dortmund 3-1. He's got quite a high score there for Bayern Munich. Kevin Fenter on Facebook has City beating Liverpool 2-1.
Sure, Kevy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Godswill Naum Kumba has Bayern beating
My
Dortmund
man.
3-2. And then Josh Boats on Instagram has Liverpool beating City 4-2.
Sure.
So
Josh.
we've got some brave predictions coming in there, guys. It'll be interesting to see how the results go this weekend. We still got some Champions League games up tonight.
Which, by the way, I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
Do you think Tottenham, after our first game that we played against these guys, do you think we're going to pull it off tonight as well?
We will beat Red Star Belgrade tonight 2-1 away from
2-1.
home.
I do
Okay.
see them winning it. I don't think they'll lose.
I hope
It's
so.
impossible for them to lose.
No, well.
No, please don't say that.
No,
No.
That's
Impossible
the commentator's
in
curse. I'm going to hit you with whatever I can find around.
No, because obviously Red Star, like I saw, there's one of their players that got injured. I think he's a guy from Romania or something.
Yeah.
He got injured, and he's one of their key players as well. But I don't know if he's back in the squad. But at the same time, Tottenham they wanna show what they're made of. And the thing is, touch wood, they will win. Okay.
You know what, they call Tottenham a vitamin B team, because after everyone plays us, they always feel better about themselves. Guys, anything else from your side before we wrap up? Jay?
It's quite a difficult one, you know,
Yeah.
because there's so much happening, and my team's not doing as well as I would like them to do.
Yeah.
So I've got a sore heart at the moment, which
Okay.
makes me feel sour towards every other thing.
So guys, please send him some love.
I am a rugby supporter in the Springboks one, so that did brighten me up a little bit and
for sure.
get me going. So well done, Boca. I'm proud of you.
Boca.
Massive well done. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes.
Legends.
And yeah, I think our domestic season is also doing really well. I'm enjoying watching a couple of the games. I'm sure we'll do a segment on them soon, or you guys will do a segment on them soon, which I'm quite excited about.
Yeah.
And I think varsity football is also up in our country. You know,
For sure.
I've seen a lot of guys training. A lot of guys are going on little international tours here and there. I don't know if it's like a pre-season warm-up or just to get. It's like a tour.
Yeah.
So a lot of the teams are going out on overseas games. You know, like little tours. I've seen a lot on social
Good for
media.
South African football.
Yeah, I'm not going to
It is.
mention
It
all
is.
the teams and whatnot, but I've seen some things happening, you know, which I'm quite excited about. So South African football's on the up, boys.
No, it
Good
is, it
stuff.
is.
Ashley?
I think I'm a bit disappointed with Pirates and Chiefs. Obviously, I'm a Pirates supporter. And then
Up
also
the
the
Bucks,
penalties.
baby. Up the Bucks.
But I think they're obviously going to do better in the league. I don't see them. It's just one game, you know.
Just one
But yeah,
little
I was
hiccup.
going to say, Jay, thanks so much for joining us as well.
No,
man.
thank you guys for having me. I
You're a
really, really, really do appreciate it. I think you guys are doing such a wonderful job.
Thanks,
It's
Jay.
just going to grow from here, and everything that you guys talk about has a lot of meaning. It's casual, it's comfortable, and it feels like home.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it is your home, so
Exactly.
thank you very much. Thank you for having us. It's been fantastic to chat with you, and we definitely hope you'll be joining us on a more regular basis. And something that you mentioned about varsity football and South African football. Guys, I know there's a couple of you out there that are listeners that are currently playing varsity football and are doing wonderful things. If you would like us to come down to one of your games or one of your training sessions, have a watch, and we could actually do a live podcast from there, possibly get one of your teammates and yourself included, and we could just have a little social chat with you. That'll be fantastic. Please contact us either on the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can WhatsApp us.
Even YouTube.
Absolutely, on YouTube, yes, please. So please contact us. We'd love to go down and do a little live podcast from the stadium there, watch you guys play. I think that'll be brilliant, actually. And in closing, thank you very much, everyone, for continuously supporting us. Thank you to Logan Gunning for supplying us with two awesome mics. They're doing a fantastic job. Hopefully they make our voice sound a bit better than it actually is. Possibly like Barry White. But yes, fantastic. Thank you very much, and that is us signing out.